Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 271 based on novel. So let's start. This is a talisman. Night Emperor flipped his hand and produced two triangular crystal-like rocks with complex engravings on them. This was somewhat similar to the jadeite of Earth. Once you send your spirit imprint in, you'll become its master. Night Emperor said. Only with this can you enter the tower. Otherwise, you can't even get in. These engravings are infused with the space laws and water laws. Wow, how mysterious. Piercing Tiger Emperor couldn't help but say as he received the talismans and examined them. Luo Feng sent a thread of spirit energy in and immediately placed his spirit imprint. It fused right into his skin. The spirit imprint was an imprint of the soul, a mark of life. Piercing Tiger kept his too. All right, let's go. Night Emperor said. The three warriors from the human camp instantly vanished from the cave and appeared deep underground over 1 trillion kilometers away. Deep underground. Luo Feng could feel the space warp, and in the blink of an eye, he appeared within a dark cave underground. This is. Luo Feng looked at the huge object stuck in the ground before them. As the mud had covered part of it, he could only see a few hundred meters ahead. The huge construct had a round entrance that was completely shut. Even after trillions of years, it was still perfectly undamaged. Barbata, scan it. Luo Feng said. I cannot detect it, and am only picking up the mud and stones within a 20 kilometers area. Even the mini-scanner cannot detect it? Luo Feng was shocked. He had long heard that the towers were undetectable and even a knight's god energy couldn't detect it. However, only after trying did he fully feel its power. It's right before me and yet my god energy cannot detect it. Piercing Tiger's voice was booming as it resounded about. My god energy can only pick up the mud and rocks around, yet I can see it right before me. This is the mysterious sacrificial tower. Night Emperor smiled. Without being in front of it, even a knight cannot find it. This tower is the survival base the indigenous people used to flee in. Even though it is an important fleeing tool, and yet it's so mysterious. Corpse. Luo Feng saw a corpse in the mud ahead. It was about 2.6 meters tall, completely jade-like, with 6 arms, bald and giving off terrifying energy. This was the energy of an undying, which was able to withstand trillions of years without any decay. Naturally, this was an undying. Quite some power. This undying energy has some pretty powerful god energy. He should be an emperor. Piercing Tiger walked over and glanced at it. It is an emperor. Night Emperor looked at the body and smiled. The tower was managed by 6 emperors when they were fleeing. They all had 1 talisman each. From the looks of it, he didn't suffer any pain when he died. Luo Feng carefully examined the body too. This body had a sense of anxiety. His eyes were wide open, yet he just died like that. It was almost like he experienced a very sudden death. He died very quickly. An emperor is very hard to kill, yet when he died, his armor was completely undamaged. It's obvious there wasn't even a battle. Night Emperor said. I think a large group of knights from the 4 pinnacle races used their soul attacks and swept the entire main continent when they were forging the battlefield. Hence, all the life on the main continent was completely annihilated. The 6 emperors were killed instantly too. Luo Feng nodded. Night Emperor, Piercing Tiger, and Luo Feng stood outside the entrance. We'll wait patiently for the enemy to come. Night Emperor said. They should be here soon. Luo Feng and Piercing Tiger sat cross-legged there and waited. After a while. Whoosh! 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 3 figure appeared. Night Emperor, you sure got here fast. An ear-piercing voice resounded. A 3-meter-tall completely black and gold-scaled snake-like creature with small eyes appeared. Its silver-white lips opened as it let out an ear-piercing laughter. Cackle, these are the 2 you've got to help you? This brute must be Piercing Tiger Emperor. Silver armor and wings, never seen before. It glanced at Luo Feng. Let me introduce you. Night Emperor's gaze landed on the 3 warriors from the enemy camp. I am Night Emperor. I am Piercing Tiger Emperor. The powerful booming voice resounded from Piercing Tiger. I don't have an emperor title yet, I'm called Yang. Luo Feng looked at the 3 enemies. There were 3 of them. Luo Feng instantly recognized that 2 of them were from the Chi-Chang race, and another was from the renowned Gold Kang Emperor of Yangji main continent. He was well known. Luo Feng knew much about it. The other two, however, Luo Feng didn't know anything, as he hadn't spent a lot of time on the main continent after all. Among the two Chi Chang warriors, one was close to 3 meter tall and the other was 1.6 meter. We've already introduced ourselves. Iceblade, what about your side? Night Emperor roared. I'm called Iceblade. The 3 meter tall Chi Chang warrior laughed weirdly. Purple Clock Emperor. The 1.6 meter tall Chi Chang Emperor, who seemed skinny, spoke. But its voice was even more piercing. Gold Kang Emperor. This huge beast, which was as tall as Piercing Tiger and had thunder engravings on his face. He stood there and glowed with electricity, his energy pressured against the human camp. Piercing Tiger, however, gave off his own terrifying energy. The space seemed to almost fall apart. There were two camps. One was the humans, and the other the automaton. Naturally, on their side, none of them were automaton race. Now that we have introduced each other, Iceblade said, let's go. Go? Night said too. Gold Kang went along with Purple Clock and Iceblade, while Luo Feng and Piercing Tiger went along with Night Emperor. They all headed towards the entrance. It had been shut for a long time, however, as Iceblade touched it, the seemingly solid and sturdy material became like a liquid and flowed as Iceblade walked in. Night Emperor did the same. As for Luo Feng and the others, as this was the first time they entered, they were extremely cautious. How strange. As Luo Feng touched it, the entrance door automatically flowed away, making him feel as though he was passing through water. The 6 Emperor-level strength warriors stood within the huge 1 kilometer wide pathway, with the entrance behind them. Getting the treasure won't be easy. Luo Feng looked at the 3 enemies. That Iceblade is a high Emperor, his threat level isn't that huge. Gold Kang, however, is a well-renowned warrior of the main continent, he should have the Emperor limit strength. Young Knight, this is going to be troublesome. Piercing Tiger communicated, I didn't expect to meet Gold Kang here. Knight looked at Luo Feng and Piercing Tiger, saying, that Iceblade is weaker than me. He knew that without getting someone stronger, he wouldn't be able to get the treasure. According to the information I gathered, that Purple Clock should be Pinnacle Emperor. And all of you already know Gold Kang, he is at Emperor limit. Emperor limit. The 3 of them felt stressed. An Emperor was sorted according to his strength, normally from low, high and pinnacle. A low Emperor's body normally reached around 10,000 Sector Lord's strength. A high Emperor reached around 30,000 Sector Lord's strength. A Pinnacle Emperor, however, reached around 100,000 times the strength. And 100,000 Sector Lord's strength, it was a human Emperor's highest form. Without a miracle, it was impossible to break through. However, amongst the Emperors, there were those with body amplification techniques, like the Golden Horned Beast had deities of the world and Beast God transformation along with strengthen, allowing its strength to amplify 20 times. True Yang had acquired the God General inheritance before. Naturally, there were others that would have received them or had their own amplification techniques. Body amplification was very hard. Beast God transformation's first level was only 2 times. Deities of the world was very powerful, it was a combination of the Beast Swallow technique to amplify. Luo Feng's Earth body, he only had the Beast God amplification. Hence he could only amplify its strength by very little. It was extremely rare to be able to amplify even 3 to 5 times. As for the God inheritance, they were too rare. Even knights were fighting for these slots. The Hong Alliance's large amount of warriors were all fighting for them too. To get one usually meant spending tens of billions of mixed elements and owing many favors. It wasn't something normal emperors could afford. Hence, emperors were normally sorted into low, high and pinnacle. Only very few had body amplification techniques and soul amplification techniques, or they created their own pinnacle techniques or had some miraculous encounters allowing them to unleash emperor limit strength. Above that, with everything added together, only then can an emperor have the strength of a normal knight, like True Yang. And Gold Kang belong to that category. Emperor limit is just 1 level above us. Even though we are weaker, the difference isn't too huge. Night Emperor said. Leave Gold Kang to me. Piercing Tiger's eyes gleamed with fighting spirit. Luo Feng looked at him. Piercing Tiger was renowned for his strength and intrepid powers, he should be able to withstand Gold Kang. Actually, we have an advantage within this tower, that's Yang. Night looked about. The circular pathway was huge, but it had countless ancient statues about that gave off law energies. This tower is very mysterious. Its entire structure has God energy everywhere, almost like the space is on lockdown within. This is also the reason I cannot simply teleport into the tower. Teleportation was very powerful. One could teleport straight into a ship from outside. If the sacrificial tower was made from normal material, Night Emperor could teleport into the center easily. With the space lockdown, young speed and dodging will become our greatest advantage. Plus Piercing Tiger and I are both Emperor Pinnacle. Even though that Gold Kang is Emperor Limit, we aren't too different in levels. Knight said, as they were discussing secretly. The other group was doing the same. After a few seconds, let's enter the core region. Iceblade said. Let's go. Knight nodded. Even though they spoke in a friendly manner, both sides were extremely cautious. Since they needed to work together to enter the core area, hence they maintained the truce. However, the moment they entered the core, with both sides from enemy camps, they would fight it out for the treasure. Hee hee. Purple Clock Emperor gazed at Luo Feng's group, his gaze was sharp like a blade. Luo Feng looked over coldly too. Both sides didn't hide their hostility. No one was stupid, there was no need to hide it. Corpses. So many. Luo Feng and the others walked within the walkway. It was 1 kilometer wide and 3 kilometers tall, and was winding about the core. Even though the entire height of the tower was tens of thousands of kilometers, the length of this walkway was at least hundreds of thousands of kilometers. They would occasionally pass halls along the way. Bodies could be seen throughout. All of them are undying bodies, and the bone remains should be Sector Lord level. As for the Domain Lord and Universe level, anything below, they've long decayed into nothing. Luo Feng saw many bodies along the way. All these dead bodies experienced death at the hands of the 4 pinnacle races. The knights of the 4 pinnacle races may not have discovered the sacrificial towers. However, they at most hid the indigenous people. It couldn't block against the soul attacks. With a sweep of the entire continent, everyone died. Even the emperors died instantly, much less the other undyings and the weaker residents. Young. Piercing Tiger communicated. Luo Feng looked over. Have you noticed that all the bodies we've seen don't have any space or world rings or even weapons? He said. Ha ha. Luo Feng naturally understood. Night Emperor and Iceblade definitely did a good cleanup. They both entered much earlier. Other than the core area, they've swept the entire tower of everything else. 6 emperors worth of treasures along with the large number of undyings about. Night Emperor probably got a lot from it. It sure makes me itchy. Night Emperor, how's the collection? Piercing Tiger was straightforward as he asked. I only managed to get 3 emperor corpses. The indigenous people cannot compare to the humans or pinnacle races, and their emperors were much poorer than normal emperors. He said directly. Still complaining about it? Piercing Tiger replied. They chatted mentally while walking. The 2 teams quickly reached the entrance of the core area. This in trance. Luo Feng looked at the huge 6-edged star. The 6 edges were the pathways, each with diameters of 10 m. The pathways glowed with light within. It was almost like membranes surrounding each walkway. It gave off large amounts of terrifying energy. According to the information we gathered, the 6 of us have to head in from all 6 pathways. We will have to rush past the barriers and place the talismans in there. Only when they are placed in there together will the core area open. The treasure is within there. Night Emperor said. Right. Iceblade nodded. Every pathway has many layers of barriers that normal officials cannot get through. It must be something the indigenous people used to stop their own later generations from rushing in. Layers of barriers? The Chi-Chang race Purple Clock Emperor looked coldly at Iceblade beside him. Snorting, he said, Iceblade, are you playing with me? The energy these pathways are giving off isn't weak at all. If it is a special attack, what will happen if we fall? Don't enter if you are afraid. Piercing Tiger snorted coldly. Coward. Luo Feng egged him on. Iceblade, the helpers you got sure are cowards. Night Emperor mocked. The human side mocked them. It made Gold Kang, Iceblade, and Purple Clock frown. Purple Clock shot a glance at the human camp and snorted coldly, not speaking again. However, from their glances, it was obvious they argued mentally for a while. Luo Feng and the human side communicated secretly too. I've already tried several times. Relax, I'll lead the way in. Night Emperor said confidently. I have the Shou wings and general armor. The energy here can't possibly kill me. What's more, it's only the earth body. If something happens, it'll still be under control. Luo Feng was extremely confident. Night Emperor, we trust you. Piercing Tiger trusted Night Emperor too. After a while, after both sides concluded their conversations, they arrived before the entrance. Since they were already here, how could they possibly retreat? Enter. Enter. Both teams said. The human side followed a pathway while the other side entered through another. 6 pathways, 6 warriors. This water screen is like membrane? Luo Feng flapped his wings and covered himself, forcefully rushing in. The water membrane was passed through, as its force was unable to stop Luo Feng's strength. He flew past the many layers. Even though each layer was stronger than the previous one, his earth body had over 10,000 Sector Lord's strength. Hence, he easily reached the end. There was a wall at the end with a triangular slot in the wall. This seemed to fit the talisman he received before. Luo Feng floated the talisman and gently placed it in. The talisman fit in and the engravings around the pathway all lit up, and the space quivered. The same sound could be heard from the other pathways. After a while, all 6 pathways shook. All the engravings within lit up brighter and brighter. This scene made Luo Feng and the others get nervous. Such treasures usually came with risks. How could one get rewards without any dangers? And everybody knew that the dangers wouldn't be too great. Hence, they dared to risk it. Even so, no one was fully sure. Within the core control room of the tower, a 3D image floated there. Through this image, one was able to see every portion of the tower. Naturally, when Luo Feng and the other just entered the tower, their image was captured as well. Other race invasion. Other race invasion. A 6-arm automaton puppet made of alloy sat in the control room. This was a puppet that resembled the indigenous people, but it was a living AI. Over countless years of looking over the tower, it evolved into a living AI. It has been countless years since it discovered an invasion from another race. So, it immediately stood up and stepped through the water membrane beside. This membrane was the pathway to a god country. Just like the fixed pathway built within the Black Dragon Mountain Empire country, the fixed pathway had a relation to the distance. The further apart the two spaces were, the more resources it took to maintain the pathway. However, the closer it was, the easier it was to maintain it. Even the Undying of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire could maintain it. This pathway within the sacrificial tower was a very simple thing to create and maintain. The AI appeared within a vast mountain range before a majestic palace. Gazing down from above, he could see the blur of living quarters. Countless Yangji indigenous residents stayed within this god country and survived. A gold-robed 6-armed silhouette appeared. It was an indigenous clansman. Master, the AI said respectfully. Aren't you in the tower? Why have you come here? The gold-robed warrior said. Master, the tower has been invaded by other race warriors. The AI replied. Invaded? His eyes immediately gleamed like 2 lasers, causing the space around to crackle. After which he laughed loudly. Sacrificial tower, our race's sacrificial tower. How long has it been? We've been hiding since forever, secretly surviving, fleeing the moment we got discovered, and struggling at death's door. Ha ha. We've finally been invaded. There are finally intruders. The warrior laughed loudly. Emperors, all gather here. Third brother, bring them here. The warrior instantly boomed throughout the god country. In a breath's time, 11 silhouettes appeared before him. These warriors all had 6 arms, rock-like skin and were bald. They were all obviously from the same race. And the energies they gave off were incredibly powerful. They were all emperor level. Godmaster. Godmaster. The 11 emperors all looked curiously at the gold-robed warrior. Why have you summoned us? The sacrificial tower we took back then, it's finally been invaded by other race warriors. The warrior said. The 11 emperors all shook with excitement, half of them breaking out with glee and tears. How many years has it been since our race faced extinction, and the knights were made targets by the 4 pinnacle races? We formed groups of tens of thousands and fled, every team taking the race's inheritance and treasures, hoping to rise again. However, the 4 pinnacle races were too fast. Only very few of our teams actually got away. Our team's 6 guides were leading the people in when the attack came. An emperor was filled with tears, his entire body shaking. We Undyings were safe within the core region. Luckily, our 3rd small brother was smart. In case of emergency, He left markers about and we teleported via God Country here to his God Country. Who knew that when we returned to the tower, everyone there was already dead? The 6 guides all died outside. Without the 6 talismans, we couldn't access the treasures within. Without the items and treasures, even though we have countless people here in the God Country, it was hard to nurture warriors. No talismans. The core area was completely shut. Even if we teleported into the core region via God Country, we couldn't leave it. We didn't dare return to Yangji main continent. Didn't dare. We didn't dare gamble. The moment we were discovered, the 4 pinnacle races would rush over to kill us, and we would face complete extinction. It's been too long. This emperor with shaggy skin had tears streaming down his face, but his eyes gleamed with madness. Finally, there are invaders from other races. They will bring the talismans, and we can finally get them and get our treasure. Finally, the chance has come. The gold-robed warriors said seriously. The other emperors all had madness in their eyes. In the ancient era, a huge tragedy fell on the indigenous people of Yangji main continent. Back then they were all normal people of the universe, and they didn't even have 10 knights in their race. Against the might of the 4 pinnacle races forging the battlefield, they were like ants. The knights knew that they were the main targets. Naturally their chances of fleeing were low. Hence they swiftly distributed their treasures to their people. It was originally distributed to 100 little teams with 9,900 other little teams that acted as decoys. The 10,000 towers had different levels too. These 9,900 teams were used as cannon fodder against the 4 pinnacle races, using the special energy of the sacrificial towers to hide the rest from scanners and space ripples etc. Its material itself was however just average. Actually, the 100 inheritance teams had many differences from the 9,900 little teams. The inheritance teams had 6 emperors each. But the 9,900 normal teams only had 6 officials in total. The treasures within were different too. The 9,900 teams had little treasures. The inheritance teams, they were truly treasure troves. They were meant to truly succeed the race eventually. And obviously, the tower Luo Feng and the others entered had 6 emperor guides, and it was one of the 100 inheritance towers. On the mountain peak, the mad winds howled. The 12 emperors of the survivors exchanged glances, as their eyes were burning with madness. "Let's go to the tower," the gold-robed warrior said. The 11 of them nodded. The 12 emperors swiftly went through the water membrane. Within the control room of the tower, the leading gold-robed warrior and the other emperors gathered within, and the AI appeared right after. "Master, look." The AI pointed at the 3D image. "This shows the entire tower. They are following the pathway now." 6 individuals. The gold-robed warrior stared hard at the 6 individuals who were clearly projected. Whether it was the Gold Eyes Winged Knight Emperor, Ice Blade, Gold King Emperor, Silver Winged Luo Feng, they were all clearly shown. There are humans and some weak races, the warrior said. Completely simulate their energies. A fat emperor standing beside ordered. Immediately, the 6 silhouettes were displayed as their original heights and sizes along with their energies. With the tower's simulation, at least 10% of their energies was emulated. The surviving warriors all looked on, the fat emperor saying softly, "These 6 should all be Emperor Pinnacle, with special items, they may be even stronger." "What? Third brother? Elder?" The other warriors looked at him. This third brother was the cautious Undying back then, teleporting them into his God Country. Including the others that were originally in there, that was the only way to keep his people alive. He was the strongest amongst the group, and he hardly ever meddled in affairs. The person usually managing everything was the gold-robed warrior. "Third brother, are you sure?" The gold-robed warrior looked at him. "Yes, I, Chiokai Ka, will never be wrong." The fat warrior smiled. "And the 6 of them should be from 2 different camps. Even though they are moving together, they are enemies, we still have a chance." "Enemies?" The gold-robed warrior and the others continued to observe, swiftly discovering the little traits that allowed them to discern that the 6 of them were from 2 different camps. "This is our chance," Chiokai Ka said. "However, the weak will be useless in this fight." "Elder." "Third brother." It immediately made some of the low emperors shout out. Pui is Pinnacle Emperor, while La Di Mo and Men Bu are High Emperor. The 3 of them including me will make it 4. "Big brother, you and the other 8 should return to the God Country." He made the decision. You won't be of much help, and this fight will be very dangerous. We are unlike the other races with powerful techniques. When we lost our inheritance, we lost a lot of our techniques. The 8 of you will still have to lead our race. Go back for the future of our race. He gazed at them. The 8 low emperors were reluctant. Yes. Yes, Elder. For the race. They finally all followed the Elder's orders. Elder, Godmaster, you all have to come back. You have to survive. The 8 emperors were worried. Relax, we will send our true inheritance back to the race. Shiokai waved, go on. The 8 of them turned around and left via the water membrane. Only the 4 strongest and the AI were left in the control room. The indigenous people of Yangji continent used to live in their tribes. The main head of the tribe was the Godmaster, while the strongest was the Elder. The Elder was in charge of leading the tribe while the Godmaster managed it. For warriors. The Elder Chiokai Godmaster Pui, La Di Mo and Men Bu. 2 pinnacle emperors and 2 high emperors. The enemy will reach the core area soon. The Elder pointed at the projection. The core area has the treasures. Everybody knows that it's divided into 2 treasure rooms and 1 inheritance room. The 2 treasure rooms have all sorts of expensive materials, weapons and mysterious items. The inheritance room is our race's countless years of accumulation of techniques. With them, we will be able to pass on our techniques to the later generations to produce more warriors. He said. Our race's 12 emperors, all of them came from the disaster era, and none were produced after. This was mainly due to the lack of techniques to nurture the later generation. After all, the techniques we know are only a small fraction of the race's entire collection. Our first goal: to get the inheritance room and teleport it to the God country. Shiokai said, pointing at the 2 rooms that were being projected. These 2 treasure rooms, one has to be opened by our race people, but we got the treasure within long time ago. The other room, however, requires one of our race people with a talisman to open. 2 rooms, one with less treasure than the other. According to what I know, the second room has tens of times more treasure than the first. He said, the second goal is to open this second treasure room. The other 3 nodded. The 3 rooms all had different levels of difficulty in opening. Opening the room with the least amount of treasure was something they already knew about. As for the other 2, one held treasures while the other held techniques. Even though the treasure is valuable, the techniques are more important to the race. Hence we have to first use all our strength to get the inheritance room. He ordered. Don't get tempted by the treasure. They may be useful to you, but they have little benefits for nurturing our later generations. Everything, for the race. Understood, Elder. Men Bu and La Di Mo nodded. Understood, third brother. The gold-robed Puri nodded as well. All right. Shiokai nodded. We have a good chance of getting both the treasure rooms and the inheritance rooms. After all, they have to be activated by our people. The others nodded. Naturally, we cannot fight it out with them. The moment we show ourselves, they will team up against us. He pointed at the first treasure room, the one they had opened in the past. This first room is the place where I've planned for them to fight it out. Elder, but we've entered this room. Men Bu said curiously. We just have to put some things in. He smiled. The treasure case we got back then is still with me. It's just a box, only its material is valuable. I'll put the 3 cases that we got in the past in there. The cases will simply be empty. When they discover the cases and are unable to scan it with their god energy along with some message from the deceased elders. Right. It would be strange for them not to fight. They would definitely think we were all dead and there was no other life in the tower. Shiokai nodded. It's not that we are smart, it's just that they would never expect for us to have survived. Remember, they don't know we are here, and that's our greatest advantage. Until the final moment, we cannot reveal ourselves. We should go arrange the first treasure room now. He swiftly left the control room and began his plan. He returned after a while. Within the control room, the 4 warriors looked at everything happening. 6 talismans. They have it, the core has been activated. We have to find a way to get at least one of them. Only that way can we activate the inheritance room and the second treasure room. The 6 pathways shook simultaneously. After revolving for a while, pathways opened at each end. Their paths were all clear. Core area. Luo Feng carefully covered himself with the Shouwu wings and entered, finally stepping through the pathway and landing on the ground. It was a vast hall. Gold Kang, Purple Clock and Night Emperor were already standing there. Young. Piercing Tiger landed too. The two of them exchanged glances and walked to Night. Iceblade, Gold Kang and Purple Clock stood together as well. Be careful, we are already in the core region. Even though we had to rely on all six to enter here, now that there's no more need to cooperate, a battle can occur at any time. Night communicated to his group. Young, especially you. Your undying body is weakest here. That Gold Kang is extremely strong, he may target you first. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. The distant Gold Kang, Iceblade and Purple Clock instantly became three beams of light and split into two. Gold Kang flew one way alone while the other two took another path. It was obvious they were trying to get to the treasure faster. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.